How's it going, YouTube? I'm doing outstanding, and today we're back in Beltmatic, but for a reason. Some of you have asked for a breakdown of the system that I have constructed here, because as you can see, if I zoom out, we are in my primary save, and it's just chaos over here, sort of. So, gonna break it down over here, and honestly, it's incredibly simple. And it only uses really just these two. It doesn't need any of this. I just choose to do this because I hate myself. Uh, it doesn't need the subtractors, really. Technically, I guess it would, because you do want zeros, but we can get into that. It definitely doesn't need all this, unless you really want to. I guess this is an easier way to do that, so I may as well just go ahead and copy that, since that I guess you could call this an essential part of the system. Let's see, what else do we have going on in here that might be worth grabbing? No, I think that's really it. We don't really use the divider. I had a couple concepts that I was working on that needed a divider, but, we can go over that if you really want me to. So let's break it down. Let's go to the very start of this machine, so that you can get an idea of what we're doing here. And that's this piece. What this piece does, pretty simply, is it adds this spot, the A. If I just go ahead and put the A in every single one of these, and it adds it to the B. I can go ahead and get rid of that. Now this is an inefficient line, but what you'll see here is if I put 5 into here, and I put 22 into here, you will see 27 coming out the other side. Because all it does is add the two together. But I could break it down a little bit further to just this part of the cell. At the time that I built this, this was optimized for really just what I had going on. You'll see I have a speed of 9 per second on the belt, and the adders will consume 2 per second. So this is no longer accurate. 2, 4, 6, 8. I should be able to do away with that in all realities. So let me just... This is what my belt should be able to handle. Technically, this. But you can't place a half a block. So, you put that into the A, the A, the A, the A. Put this into the B, 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 and B. And then you simply output, probably not from there, but from there, like so. And what you'll find is that with a big enough storage, this will be able to pretty precisely fill these up. I just want to make sure they're evenly supplied here. So neither line should ever get completely backed up. Oh, except that they will, because this moves at 9 per second, and this will take in, yeah. So since this is moving at 9 per second, this is consuming 8 per second. They will technically back up. But if I were to put on another one here, helps if I place it correctly. Put that into the A and that into the B, and then that into here. And storage. Let me just go ahead and clear that. Just some reset it here. See that now it shouldn't be able to back up. It technically won't output on this one nearly as often as these. if I'm understanding correctly. But because these process at 2 per second, they're outputting 10, so eventually this line might end up backing up. Or at least it won't be able to fully output onto this. So one of these might back up, which will be more visualized if I do it like this. Then let me just go ahead and clear that all again. You can see it's outputting on these more often than it is on this one, but only slightly. And eventually, one of these lines might start backing up. It might not. I mean, it should. I guess you can kind of see how it's slowly getting further and further down, but yeah, I suppose because this one's not outputting at full capacity. It's roughly 9 in, 9 out, I guess. So, but that's fine. So that what you do is you take this and you just multiply it by the amount of times you want, knowing that one line can only supply 9 of these. So if I were to do this, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Actually, yeah, it can't even do that. Let me go ahead and clear that again. So you'll see that it'll fill this one up, back that up, so on and so forth. But this shouldn't be able to run this nearly as fast. You see they're getting to here. Sometimes they're getting to here. Every once in a while they skip all the way to the end, but it's outputting significantly slower than this system here, where it has not just one, but two. And the reason I have 6 is that, you know, when this one backs up, it moves on to this one and so on, but it's not technically necessary. It depends on how fast your belts are versus how fast your adders are. But you see, this is outputting a full line, this is outputting half as much, at least. Only because it can't. It got some of the Bravos all the way out there, but it can't get the Alphas all the way out to there because they're getting consumed by this one too quickly. It's surprising that it can handle 4, though. See, on this line, it is not, though. So, you gotta do some math every now and again. Anywho, whole point of this is to say that this is just a slightly bigger adder system. That's all it is. Now you see that I have 5 of them, and really all that does is it adds the 1 to the 10, the 100 to the 1,000, the 10,000 to the 100,000. I'm not entirely sure in which order it does these, but theoretically it should add these two together, these two together, these two together, then it adds these two together, and then these two together to output over here, if that makes any sense. And I'll show you precisely how it does that. So if I go ahead and take this ones place, put it into here, we can follow it all the way through the system as it comes down this way. It's going to skirt these multipliers because it doesn't need to be multiplied. It's going to come down this way. Going to go all the way around this corner. Now, I didn't need to really have these all the way out here. I just chose to. because it makes it simpler to, as a human, choose the number. And then you can see it just goes right into this set of adders here. Now you're probably wondering, what comes out in this second set of adders? Well, that's going to be whatever comes out of, I want to say it's this set of multipliers here. Which you'll see if I take this 7, put it into here. Should probably make sure I'm doing the same belt just to make sure it actually works, but that's fine. You'll see these 7s will come into these multipliers here. This one in particular is going to come all the way through here and get divided up into this fancy nonsense. It's going to go into the B slot of all of these. What goes into these A slots? Well, the 10. Because this is the 10th place, that'll make it 70, which, if you follow it down this way, will make it 71 when it gets to here. So let's go ahead and got a wild clipboard here. Let's find me an adder. Well, I'm not looking for an adder. I'm looking for a 10 maker. And there's plenty of different options for 10s. Technically, you could do 11 minus 1, 12 minus 2, whatever. I just happen to prefer this setup because, again, it's simplistic. Each line can fill precisely 2 of these, at least at the time that I made it. And then each 4 of these can fill 1 line, giving you 6 lines in and 6 lines out of 10s. Real simple. So, let me just go ahead and take one of these. Pretty sure this is the 10 line. So let me just, I'm going to do this the easy way and just boop. Boop. This will put 10s down every line because no matter how many times, or no matter what you have in, it will always output on all the possible lines. But you can see it's a lot less. It's literally 1/3 of this. But you can follow these. They're coming down this way, and you can see they're going into the A slots. And so we've already started to see some 70s come down this way. Even though they haven't made it through to this set, they went to that one. That's okay. We can follow these as I go through this ziggity zag. I don't know precisely where these are going to end up. This might end up in the same adder. They may not. I might have to switch the 7 around until they get to where I actually want them to go, which is this one here. Yeah, because those are not going there. And that's fine. They don't need to. So I'm just going to go ahead and do this kind of in a silly way, because obviously it's going to split it up, and that doesn't help anything. Same with that one. But this will eventually output like a lot of 70s on all the lines. As you can tell, this one backed up because there's no 1s in here. So once those 1s come through, what you'll see is this will start outputting 71. So as I said over here, it's this one. Where did I draw that? I thought I drew that there. I must have deleted it. That's fine. This adds 10 plus 1. It's all this does here. 71. Those 71s come down into this system here as the B input technically, but you know, it doesn't really matter. So the next one that comes into here is going to be out of here, which is a combination of these two, which I don't really feel like showing you here, but I can show you back at the main system. As you can tell, I have tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, and 100,000s going into the system, each one going to where it's supposed to. So obviously the 1 has no 10 multiplier, so it's just a blank line all the way through into the system. But the 10, you can see, has 10s. The 10s go into these multipliers, and then you can also go back to here, follow the hundreds in, And they go down into this set of multipliers here, which is directly next to the thousands, both of which output into here. So this will add 100 to 1,000. Up here, this has your 10,000 and your 100,000. And this adder will add 10,000 to 100,000. And then this adder adds your 110,000 to your 1,100 and puts it down here to add it to your 10 and 1. So hopefully that's making sense. It's pretty simple. So the way the multiplier works is also pretty darn simple. Let me just go ahead and copy this bad boy, rotate it around a little bit to make it easier to understand. Oh man, I don't even remember which way is which. Looks like that way though. Alright, so to make this simple to understand, right, all I've done is 5 of these. And again, most of this was kind of arbitrary based on some math I did in my head. That's actually incorrect. So what we technically it's not incorrect. I could do it that way, but I prefer to have the A's facing each other like that. So you want one number coming through the middle, and it should connect up to every A input, like so. And then you need something going to your B input, so we'll just go down this way, connect in there, 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 there. And then usually what I do is I split it up and do it this way. So technically both of these are going into all 10. Now for output, that's a little more tricky. Gotta put them all going this way. And then looks like what I did was out this way, but you could just as easily do out that way if you wanted. I don't personally care for that, so I don't do it. I prefer the symmetry of this. Then you just connect them all up like that. And then you can connect those. And you'll see that you can, well, multiplying anything by 1 is a little silly. Take 11 here, and we will put it into the A slot. And you'll see it just goes right down the middle, fills in every single one of those. We'll take this 8, it'll fill in the B slots, and out you will get roughly a full line of 88. Eventually, once it gets the 8s all the way through. But it's pretty good. In fact, it's actually almost faster than a full line. So what I might do now, only because I've made some modifications to this system in the first place to make it faster, is this. And you'll see a significant increase in how fast it can output. So let me just want to do this. It's a little silly, but hear me out. And then I will just go ahead and clear all that just so we can see how fast it really is making these. Because I don't know if it's actually going to output a full line or not. And this will be a good way to tell. So obviously that wasn't. That definitely wasn't. Still isn't. Ooh. So it's very nearly a full line, but not quite. Well, once it gets back around, it'll definitely be a full line, though. But you can see how it's kind of a pulse of 88s. It does fill it up more, but it can't. Yeah. Anyway, but now it's going to start just being a full line due to feedback. That's okay. Ridiculous. So that's that. So this is just multiplied 6 times for each one. And you might say, well, but that looks like 12. It's not, because it's just this system. Because I showed you earlier, this was, 100 and this was 1,000. Each of them are just done this way. Because each one of these can nearly output a full line, then what happens is I need 6 lines, so I did it 6 times. And the only reason this needs 6 lines is because this needs 6 lines, because this can only take 6 lines in on each side. Now, could I have theoretically built a system that, I only have to do this once and then it fills all 24 lines? Yes, absolutely I could have. However, this allows me to choose 4 different numbers to input. So for an example, I could select, let's see, what do I want to do? I mean, I like upgrading the belt level, but it's not necessarily, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and do the level numbers. So 1, 5, 4, and let me go to this. All right. So 15418 or 15,418. So you don't need the 100,000ths place. So we're going to set that to 0. So this will come in here. Ooh, that's not what I wanted to do. Just go ahead and minus that. Zeros will fly down this way. A long way. And you see how it says HK, 100,000. I don't know why K means 1,000. Just, it's not my problem. It combines with these 100,000s, follows down this line into these multipliers to get 100,000 times 0 equals 0. So this will output 0 into here, and we'll add 0 to whatever the 10,000th place is. So let's go back to here. What was it? 15418. So there we go. We will set this to 1, 5, 4, 1, and 8. You'll see as soon as all these numbers start coming through, this is going to output the number needed for the next level. I wasn't paying attention. 15418. You can see all the zeros coming in, and they will eventually be added to, I believe this will be 10,000 coming out of here, because it's going to be 10,000 times 1. Should see some of that pretty soon. You see 8's coming in on the 1's place. Some 4's coming into the hundreds. The 10's are coming out as 10's. There we go. We got some 10,000s coming out. 5,000s coming out. So it's going to be 15,400 coming out of here. Or 5,400 there. So 15,400 comes out of here. This 10,000 is going to go in. 5,400 is going to go in. 15,400 comes out of here. Adds the 18 for 15418. Which will go into the center here. And you'll see it's coming in at 90 per minute, 180 per minute, and faster and faster and faster. I think until it hits a limit of, it should be 2.8K per minute. 2.3, 2.5, 2.6, 7, 8. 2.8. Now I can make that faster by making some changes, I'm sure, but I don't care. Because obviously you can tell it's not filling the full belt, and I think it's partially due to the speed of the adders, partially due to the speed of the multipliers. Because you see the multipliers are really the ones putting out the chunks. But that's okay. So But to really improve the efficiency of this system, I will have this one be 12864. So we can just go ahead and set this to 0, 1, 2, 8, 6, and lastly 4. So this one will put out 12,864. We'll have this one set to 17,146. One 7, 1, 4, 6. And you might be wondering, why does this one have to be set to 0? If I don't put the 0 in, then it never multiplies by the 100,000, so nothing comes through here to add to the 10,000. All right, what's the next number after that? Is 19,507. Yeah, that's the last one. Okay. We want 1, 9, 5, every time. 0, and 7. So essentially what this is going to do for me is I will unlock the next 4 levels essentially automatically once it starts pumping the numbers through. I could, alternatively, set them all to the same number and be, what, you say, 12,000 per minute, roughly? Slightly less, probably 11,000. Yeah, I can go to the numbers here. You can see 2.8, 2.8. This will get up to 2.8. This one will get up to 2.8. But eventually it'll be, just level after level after level. So, onto this. This is an exponent maker, essentially. It uses just a plain exponentiator, and it has the same concept as these two, where it's just a lot of them to achieve the same job faster. There we go. It's saving. But what makes this useful to me is if I go... Gotta find a 10 maker. Do 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 do. Oh my god, so many things. All right, so it's not where I want that, but that's fine. There, now it'll be in my recent clipboard. So this will make a lot of 10s, obviously, and I will put each one into the A slot. Now that's very specific on this one, where it isn't in the others. It doesn't really matter which one you put it in on most of the other devices, but on this one, where you put numbers is incredibly important. Mostly because, guess what? 2 times 10 and 10 times 2, it's the same thing. Not so for exponentiators. So for this one, we want 10 always in the A slot, because if you look, it says A to the power of B. So next, what we're gonna want to do here is we're gonna want to grab a 1, Come on, there's got to be a 2 around here. Fine, whatever. 3, 5, 4. Okay. So we'll take this one, bring it in, and you'll find that 10 to the power of 1 is 10. But to the power of 3, which are two relatively small numbers, 10 and 3, this is going to output 1,000. 4, if I bring that into here, is going to pump out 10,000. And this 5, if I bring that bad guy all the way through to here, it's going to bring 100,000. I don't even know what this is going to be. That's a 21. And a 7, just for good measure. Now, I'm pretty sure 21 or 10 to the power of 21 is not actually going to output a useful number. Yeah, it outputs the 32-bit integer limit because it's too big of a number. But really the value here is at 10, 100, 1,000, and 10,000, which is how I accomplish this. You'll see that this is just a couple 10 makers. That's all it is. Now, these are outdated ones that I should just update. In fact, I will. So let's go ahead and delete all that. And now I can actually run it with a single one. Just go ahead and put that into there. That into there. Righty. Oh, see, there's one level. And you'll see that we are already working on the next one. And that this one is no longer valid. But that's okay. So yeah. This is a single 5 maker outputting not as much as it should. It should be a full 6 in and full 6 out. I suppose that was also based on older numbers. I'm going to have to readjust this to make it properly efficient. But I can always supplement by slapping this bad boy down here. And we can just pump you into that line. That line. Now this is wildly overkill. Because obviously it's not outputting a half line by a measure. But that's okay. Now this will be nothing but full lines. You'll see it's actually counting up. Ish. It's kind of confusing. Anyway, if you follow my hundreds back, you'll see it's just 10 to the power of 2. Follow the thousands, and it's 10 to the power of 3. 10 to the power of 4. 10 to the power of 5. It's that simple. And you can produce an epic shit ton of them. So let's go take a look at the center. Let's see, it's at 6,000, 15,000. It's moving along. But what I can do is 12,864 is no longer necessary. So which one was that on? Is it this one? Yeah. We can change this one. Maybe not to 15,418, but we'll change it to 17,146. And you'll see that process can be a little weird. So 17,146. You know what? I'm just going to go ahead and put that back at 2. So 17. But you got to add the 7 and delete the 2. 1, 4, and 6. So initially the numbers that this is going to produce are going to be weirdly off. What you could do, if you really want to, is just clear up the machine and it'll refill and correct itself. Obviously I didn't clear it all the way, so it's still going to output some weird numbers, but not nearly as many. Realistically, it was going to go through it anyway, so it doesn't really make a huge difference, at least to me. But by the time this gets all the way through, we should be done with 15.418. Hopefully in time to actually help with, with this one, but who knows. Already it's outputting some numbers, but they're going to be weird and wildly off. Yeah, see, 1280.866 instead of... it doesn't really matter. It's going to get through it in the end, and it's going to start outputting 17.146 and increasing this number. Well, yeah, see, it's going to output a whole bunch of different variants until it converts fully. Oh my god, that's a lot of variants. That's a lot of variants. My god. But you'll see 17.146 is now increasing, which means the rest of these should start decreasing. 4,000, 4.4. So this is going to be one of the fastest times I have ever gone through. Which will be cool. It's at 5.6. Seven. And there you go. Boom. And now, let's see just how fast it's going to start going through this. $19,507. So I think this one was, yeah. Let's change this to 19,507 real quick. One already. 19. 5. 0. 7. I'm actually going to go ahead and change another one to 19,507. The game is getting having a harder and harder time. So, sorry, what was it? 19,507. Yes, 19,507. Make sure I set this one correctly. 19,507. Beautiful. So now I'll have 3 of them set to 19,507. And you should see this is going to start decreasing from 5.7 down. That's okay. Obviously, this is going to get spammed with a bunch of ridiculous numbers, but that's, again, that's fine. And then once this is done, I'm going to swap this one as quick as I can. 1. This is 19. 5. 0. Clear all that. So now it should be. Oh, it's already so close. Ah, that's right. Well, it is at almost 9,000 a minute, or 144 per second, which I think my maximum speed in would be, what, essentially 9 times 24. 9 times 24, 216 should be my maximum. And obviously I'm not going to reach that. But once this one starts flowing in, it should be pretty significant, you know? Alright, see, some of these numbers are going to be a little weird at first, but that's fine. Also, wait, 9? Oh, no, 0. I'm like, oh, that's got to be weird. So now we're going to see some really weird numbers pop in here for a second. But 19507 shouldn't take too long. There's some of them in there. And it's already done. Now that's unfortunate. But now all the 19507s I produce are worthless. But look at that. 190.1, 191, 191.5. Ooh. We're at over 11,500 per minute. I reckon that's a pretty solid amount. If there's anything else you guys want to explain, well, I guess I could explain this one real quick. It's pretty easy. A minus B, if it's literally as simple as it sounds. If you take 19 minus 19, it's 0 without fail every time. So we have a plethora of zeros, and since we use a lot of zeros, I set this one up to be much more robust than the other numbers. And the reason I set these up, as weird as I did, so you have 3 lines going in. Well, technically 6. You have 6 lines going in, and you have 3 times as much coming out. So this should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You know, like an 18. 6 times 3, 18. Voila. And the reason I do that, again, as weird as it sounds, is the fact that these all flow into here, and out of these 3 sets, the odds of all 3 of them being equal to 1 is very minimal. You'll see that at most, you'll see 2 of the same number in a single number. This one has 3, however, you've got 2 in the first slot and 1 in the second slot. So these 3 are separate from these 3, only because I designed them that way. And it really does break down to be that simple. This is just to reduce the amount of times I need to look for a number. You know? Now, technically, this does have 6 more outputs. However, that is a pain in my ass to deal with. What, like, how am I gonna... no. I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I guess I could have... I could set it up so it is instead split. Let's do... yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine. Where, you know, you've got your 3 lines in, 3 lines in. So this is what I currently have, right? But I could have, I suppose, 6 lines in and... No, because that won't work. Right, because that's only 12. I would need another 6 lines in. Well, I would need at least another 3 lines to... Well, 12. No. I need another 6 to make another 6. So, yeah, no. I didn't feel like it, alright? God damn. I suppose I could take this and output into 4 of these. Oop. You know what? I don't feel like dealing with this right now. That's not the point of this video. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and you have a good one.